Hey folks, this is Sarbjeet Johal coming to you from Verint Engage from Orlando. I am sitting right now with Raj Balasundaram. Hello, Raj. How are you doing?
Nice. How are you doing?
Good. With that said, let's get an introduction from Raj, and then we'll get into the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Raj, what do you do for Verint, and what your role is? If you can give me a very brief history of your work before you were Verint, that would be useful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Raj Balasundaram. I'm a GVP looking after AI innovation at Verint. I've had a history of AI. I did my postgrads in AI, so worked with a string of CX companies. Prior to coming to Verint, I was with a company called Immutable, built our AI platform, which was acquired by SAP. So passionate about AI. Working with customers, nice. Mainly with the C-suites, helping them adopt AI platforms, helping them architect it, and helping them solve problems, which is what I love.
That's awesome. And before we sort of start rolling the camera, you told me that you have this trifecta kind of role.
Right.
You work with the product inside, and this product and sales and marketing inside the company, and outside you work with the partners and customers.
That's right.
So you're going to help company translate the requirements from the field into the product, right?
Yeah.
And the platform, actually, we'll say, right? So what is that process, and how do you see, actually, more importantly, I think our viewers will be more interested in this, that how do you see the AI use cases developing in the CX sort of domain? Because CX is one of those things, like we tend to think that CX is the very ripe use case for AI.
Yeah.
But when you double click on it, some parts are ripe, some are not. So there's still a lot of haggling or work needs to be done there.
Yeah, and I think you're perfectly right in that sense, because not all problems are worth solving with AI.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is, we've been in the field for so long. We know certain problems and certain use cases which we have been trying to solve for a longer period of time.
Yes.
And we know, okay, now is the right time because the tech has come along. Yeah. It's like an Iron Man, when Iron Man's dad was actually trying to solve a problem and he comes along and he solves the problem. It's like that, right? So we knew there are certain use cases. We call that as like micro workflows.
Yeah.
And we say, hey, we had to solve this problem, and we tried solving the problem, and we kept at it. And then the newer models came out, the more powerful models came out. We said, like, oh, now it's worth applying those models to those problems, and we started solving them. What is interesting is, everybody starts with the tech. They go, hey, you know what, I'm going to take AI and solve the problem. Yeah. But it doesn't work like that. You need to have done this for long enough to know this particular problem is worth solving with AI.
Yeah. Actually, lead with the sort of more a business use case, and then apply the right technology at the right level. Totally get it. I think time is very important, and usually it's not the one piece of technology. Actually, we have been seeing it.
Right.
We have seen it in the market. It's the convergence of many different disciplines. The NLP is better now.
Right.
Better infrastructure is better now. It's faster, right? So we can, for example, on the dialogue between customer and customer service rep, we can have the memory and context, which we can contain now. So things are cheaper, better, faster, right? So that makes you move faster.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the cloud providers, other meta platforms, like I call them, they are helping companies like yours to build more efficient solutions. So from the use cases, we saw the last evening's the keynote. So which area you're focusing on the AI use cases? If you can double click on that.
Yeah.
Like the call starts with the AI sort of agent, if you will. That voice agent is talking to the customer, and then at some point it can do few things, and after that it passes on to the human agent, if you will. If it needs to, or to the other AI agents on the back end to get the work done. Yeah. If you can explain that workflow a little bit, that would be interesting to understand, like how AI is evolving in CX space?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit. I see it slightly differently. For example, we take a step back to start with. Instead of going to the use cases specifically, when we're done with all these use cases, what is it that we're trying to achieve here, right? I think that's where we ask the question. That's why I love working with Dan Bodner, our CEO, because he's got the bigger vision in mind. Like, what is that we're trying to solve? And when we set out solving these problems, the first thing we said was, what is an average call time for like an enterprise Fortune 100 company?
Yeah.
And if you look at it, the average call time is roughly about 7 minutes, right? What if we could cut that 7 minutes to 3.5 minutes?
Yeah.
Right? And then we said, like, okay, if that's the problem we're trying to solve, can you apply AI broadly like a sauce and it'll make it work? I was like, no, it's not going to work, right? And then you realize, okay, there are so many bottlenecks and inefficiencies at every single point of that equation and the call flow. You go, you know what? Let's just take those specific call flows and map it out. And that's the first thing we did. We're like, okay, we tried solving this problem. Here's a bottleneck here. Here's where we are losing time, etc. And that requirement gathering has been, in my opinion, the golden foundation for everything we did.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, I noticed that you guys are focused on the actual business KPIs, like the number of seconds, even seconds, not minutes,
right, seconds.
reduced by like 5 seconds less. That means 1,000 human agents are spending that less time. It translates to millions of dollars in savings. So which was actually very refreshing to see. But at the same time, you have to break that, like you have to double click on these problems underneath, like what happens during a call, what vertical we are working with. Is it an insurance company? Is it like healthcare company? And what are the FAQs, and can we kill some of the FAQ kind of calls with automation, but then complex ones like through a different mechanism? Right?
I think we are a horizontal platform. We're domain agnostic. However, we have very highly specific verticalized solutions as well. Like, for example, for healthcare, insurance, banking, and retail, and hospitality, and whatnot. To your point, the first thing we do is, hey, what are the things that an AI agent can solve even before it goes into a call flow, even before it goes into a, to a human agent. And I always say is, it's a principle of Pareto where like 80% of your issues that you see can be automated. Right? There are 20% of them which will take 80% of your time. Send that to your agents. A lot of the things that you said, like, change of password, change of address, so, I want to make a payment to my policy, or, things like that. Unless the customers don't want to do it, they can achieve that with Agentic AI, right? And it wasn't possible until 18 months ago, because I come from the old school world of neural networks, which is the foundation for all the LLMs. They were not powerful enough to do multi-step processing. Whereas now we have thinking models, which actually says, okay, you've asked me a question, I've got a context and I've got a memory, and now I'm going to take a first pass at it. Oh, it's not right, so I'm going to take a second pass at it. Oh, it's not right. Oh, maybe I need another information, use the tool to get information. And then it solves the problem. And that didn't appear until the last 18 months or so.
Actually, yes. You're so right. The tool calling in AI, so it started happening about maybe less than 18 months ago. And all the distilling the models and fine-tuning versus RAG. So we are cooking the stuff on the fly.
On the fly,
So you guys are using A2A protocols and MCP-like stuff, or on the technical side?
So
we don't get into that.
We have the capabilities of the MCP, and in my opinion, still a lot of customers are not mature enough to use MCPs yet. I think it's still a buzzword, in my opinion. Not a fact. But I think the way we solve the problem is interesting, because we have what is called as a core of the data set for all our customers. Call comes in, we record the call. 95% of our customers in the top 100 Fortune companies, we record their calls. we transcribe the calls.
Yeah.
So if you think about CRM data, services data, or any other record data, humans will have to enter a data set.
Yeah.
It could be right, it could be wrong. Salespeople might enter it wrong, service people might enter it wrong. But there's one industry where the data is immutable, and that is the contact center industry.
Yeah.
Because it's two people talking, and it cannot be changed.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, and that's the beauty of what we do at Verint, because we are recording that data, we're transcribing the data, so we have a super strong foundation of our data sets, and that's why we solve the problem so quickly and easily, without us having to think about, oh, do we have the full spectrum of the call? Because we do have the full spectrum of the call,
Yeah.
from start to finish, right?
True. Yeah, actually, and then during these discussions yesterday and day before yesterday with some of your folks, learned that how you guys work with system of record
Right.
on the back end, and then, but when the call is happening, that is the truth, what customer is
Right.
asking,
Yeah.
and for regulatory reasons,
Yeah.
you have to keep those sort of calls for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
In some industries, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we record the calls for highly regulated compliant industries. It's 10, 15 years, depending on their data policy. And it's important to know, see, everybody gives you call recording nowadays.
Yeah.
It's commoditized.
Yeah.
Everybody gives you transcription because it's all commoditized. However, not everybody gives you the same data policy.
Yeah.
Right. If you think about Verint, they came from the beta tapes. The other day, Dan was telling us the story of how Verint started.
Yeah.
He was the one who took all the beta tapes into a digital format, so they know what compliance actually means. So,
Yeah, I usually say that to the youngsters as well. Like when I speak at colleges and universities whenever I can to help the students coming into the tech industry. Like, doesn't matter what industry you are in. If you study the history of that industry,
Yeah.
you will be a much more effective
Right.
practitioner or leader in that industry.
Yeah.
So that's true, actually. Yeah, knowing where you're coming from.
Exactly. So so data compliance, data policy is so important, and we have customers who are like, no, Amazon is giving for free or whatever it is, and we're going to switch. And then we ask them a few questions going, did you think about this, and I was like, oh dear, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
There's like a 10-page document that you have to go through on your data policy, and I go, oh, well, maybe we can't do that. So
Yeah, true. Actually, there's a term I sometimes refer to, experts blind spot.
Yeah.
When people do stuff day in, day out, they build blind spots.
Right.
And they don't even think of those things with what an outsider, a vendor, or a consulting firm can come and say, like, have you considered this? Have you looked at this from this different angle?
Yeah.
So yeah, it opens so many possibilities for them to improve.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to touch upon with you, Raj, is that where do you see this going? Actually, like, paint a little bit of futuristic picture, because you have worked in this domain for quite a while now, and you can extrapolate from there.
Yeah, I'm against the popular belief that AI will replace humans and whatnot, only because I build stuff. I know what the reality is. So, a lot of it is just marketing stunt, which says, AI will replace humans and whatnot. I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
Maybe in 10 years' time, maybe even 5 years' time, but not yet. So currently, the most important thing we need to think about whenever we develop software is it has to be assisting a human and making their life better.
Yeah. True.
So currently, whenever you're building and talking about it in the CX space, it needs to be enhancing the consumer's experience, and it needs to be enhancing the employee's experience, the agent's experience. So with that in mind, the future is in the next, I'm going to call it next 24 months, because anything more than that is too much of a future for me.
Yeah,
what's going to happen is the agents are going to have their own bots doing an agent's job. So a normal agent will have like 5 or 10 different agents interacting with 10 consumers, and hence a normal contact center agent will actually become a semi-supervisor, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're saying, okay, you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing, kind of like stepping in when something is going wrong. So as a result, an organization, who have 1,000 agents can now act like a 5,000, 6,000 agent capacity, it's not just doubling the capacity. I think they're going to quadruple and like go X number of times.
Exponential growth, yeah.
But if you try the other way around by saying, you know what, I'm just going to remove all the humans, I'm going to have just bots, you might actually very badly affect customer experience.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, every other field, automation is kind of like, it affects it in a different way, but in customer experience, it's affecting humans.
Yes.
So you have to be very, very careful in how you tread and how you put things in play.
I think breaking as you said, the call workflows in different verticals, even though you have a horizontal platform, it's very important to understand what happens where, and then where you can bring in these agents.
Right.
And even then, that agent can call the sub-agents and all that stuff,
Right.
So that some level of validity or flexibility there is important. At the same time, the human should be in the loop, and sometimes you call it on the loop as well.
Right.
The difference being when a human is in the loop, human is doing one part of that call process. On the loop means human is watching what agents are doing, and they can jump in if they need to.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting sort of concept.
A perfect example, like early signs of what this is, like we work with a company who onboard patients who are going through terminal drugs for big pharmas. And this is a highly sensitive operation. So they have human agents helping people through their difficult times, essentially. But in the background, there are bots actually helping the agents take notes, get the records, get the notes, all that kind of stuff. So essentially, the agents are only talking to the human because the humans want to have a human touch to it. In reality, everything is done in the background by the agents.
Yeah.
Right? So if you flip it in the near future, humans will only come in for like sensitive tasks and like you said, even on the loop kind of a thing, right? So we already see signs of that happening. As the adoption increases more and more and more, it's only a matter of months, in my opinion. We'll already see it. By the time next time we come to Engage, I'm sure we'll have a case study for that.
Yeah, no, on the flip side, also like the end users also are humans on that side, of course. They also are getting used to a lot of for the B2C side of things, right? Like talking to Siri, for example, for a while now. They are getting used to doing NLP on the fly, so that they are getting trained as well how to work with these voice-enabled agents, if you will. But that's it, Raj. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. It
I
was a
enjoyed
pleasure.
the discussion.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks, for listening. That's it for now. Thanks.